Hey Kelly, how are you doing? I want to talk to you about Halloween. What's happening?
Hey, Ronnie, I am doing great. I'm super excited about Halloween. As you can see, me and my friend here are getting ready for the big night of debauchery, spookiness, and ghosts, which I love.
You love the whole season. Now, okay, so fair note, we are going to take a little bit time away from Billy and Julie, their escapades in the city. Difficult People is the show we usually recap, but Kelly sort of had an idea, and it's actually a great time too, because we've done about, we're actually at the midway point, if you think about it. Our
Yeah.
beloved Billy and our beloved Julie, but they step in it all the time, and it's sort of sometimes hard to constantly defend them or see their side of things. So Halloween was sort of approaching, and Kelly really likes scary movies. I don't know if you like Paranormal Activity and that type of stuff,
Oh,
but it wasn't really my idea. We'll give the credit to you. And it really just started as a text message. It started as like, what do you watch? And I realized that my version of Halloween was getting a pumpkin, carving a jack-o'-lantern, and watching like Beetlejuice. Kelly's like, you wuss. She didn't say that.
no, I love all the spookiness of it. I love ghost stories and I'm constantly watching like the Discovery Channel and Discovery Plus now with the apps and
Mhm.
Travel Channel and all the ghost story shows and my ghost story. Like I love that stuff. I've had my own fun paranormal, well, not really fun, but my own like
Oh,
paranormal experiences
Kelly,
that were
don't
pretty creepy.
summons it. Put it away. Put it away. Don't
But I
don't
know that's
bring
what
it
my
back.
sister always says. She's like, keep your stuff to yourself. But it's just really always been fascinating to me. So I have some fantastic scary movies that I just love. I love like the more like the fright, the scare versus the gore when it
Mm.
comes to horror movies and scary movies. I can appreciate some of the good gory movies like Saw and all of that, but I much prefer like the more spooky and more like ghostly
Oh,
stories.
the kind that don't let you sleep, Kelly says.
Yes,
Damn it.
that's the ones I love. The
Okay.
ones that like jump out at you, you're like dreaming about
And
because
here
you
I
hear
want to
the
watch
voices.
here I want to watch Beetlejuice, Hocus Pocus.
And I'm making you watch The Conjuring,
Could
texting
we
you.
not be more different? You know what I mean? It's like friends for, since 2003, and yet no, 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 no. I'm over here like, don't say Beetlejuice, Kelly. Um,
But tell me, what was your experience like watching The Conjuring for the first time?
okay, I'm going to tell you about that. I'm whispering because I don't want to bring anything up. No, but before I want to talk about the movies, because we've been texting about some great movies, but also I wanted
Yeah.
to bring up one thing that I'm wondering. Sometimes I feel like if you're based on who you are and when you were born, like you get more into it. So I know your sister to be crafty, and I know and you were telling me that your sister is a Halloween baby for the most part.
Yes.
So I wonder if that's really kind of played into your crafty and your artistic side, be it, your mother dressing you up when you guys were young and stuff like that. I feel like the day you were born adds a lot of interest. I'm a Labor Day baby, so I always feel like
Mhm.
that's the best time of the year. But I couldn't only imagine being a Halloween kid. And I feel like that crafty, artsy, just moment of disbelief would be so much more in you. You know what I mean? And you being the big
Well,
sister.
I mean, yeah, my sister is definitely, I mean, she made this, our lovely friend back here, we're, have a fun Halloween event that we're doing, and she created that for it, which I think is fantastic. She loves the Saw series, which is like psycho to me, but whatever. If you know the series, you know what I mean. But it's just, she's very much, that's why we really got into it, was, her birthday is October 30th, the day before. She's very much a Halloween baby and loves all that stuff. And my mom made our costumes when we were kids, and she always did such an amazing job being like spot on with the different characters that she would dress us up to be. So it's always been a fun thing. And then as I got older, my work kind of threw me back into the Halloween scene with different parties and different events. So it's always just been a fun holiday to get behind. But I'm a Christmas baby, so I love Christmas too, and Christmas
Yeah.
movies and
You
all that.
see,
So that's kind of like,
the
yeah. So
time of the
I get what you're
year
saying.
becomes more. I mean, I don't know if it was a regular time of the year, but if you have something like that represents something else, like it becomes so monumental. Like you're never gonna tell me Labor Day ain't the hottest time of the year. Like that is that's just, and I had thought everyone thought that. No, just like Halloween, I like it, I enjoy it, but maybe not the way that your sister would. And she's so crafty. I love what you put together there. Let's talk about Halloween costumes in a second, but let's talk about movies, as you were saying a second ago.
Yes.
So she's like, so Kellie texts me. She says, well, so tell me what your favorite Halloween movies are. And I was like, shit, I don't know. Is Beetlejuice a Halloween movie? I mean, I know I say it redundantly, but I had learned that I don't watch many of them. So I was on assignment. I mean, I don't know. What do you consider a Halloween movie? That's the question.
Well, just scary movies. I mean, like Halloween themed movies are a little different, like Hocus Pocus and like The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and like that sort of thing. That's like actually, and Michael Myers and all the Halloween movies are actually based on Halloween, the holiday itself. But then there's just your average like scary movie. Like one of my all-time favorite recent, I mean, not real recent, but the newer one is
you're so beautiful with your words.
is Dead Silence. It
not,
stars
not recent, just recent 2007. But
I mean, it's in the 2000s. It's
oh my
not
God.
like, because one of my all-time favorites is like a 1970s movie called like The Changeling.
Okay.
Which is an older movie, but it is fantastic. It's super, super creepy and scary. And one of those movies that just like makes you jump. It's
Dead
one
Silence.
You can't go to sleep with.
Dead Silence looked so good. I was on assignment by you to watch it. However, it was $3.99 for the rental, and I'm too chicken shit to watch it. So I said, I'll watch the ones that Kellie tells me to watch. Not that you were bossing me around. If they're free on Netflix or Amazon or something, but no, Dead Silence. Although that did look interesting. The story of the gal who basically did she get her tongue cut out, or was it more of like
she did? So the concept, like the plot of the movie is there was this ventriloquist who had ventriloquist dummies, and she was a woman and she had like 100 different dolls, and she never had kids of her own, but she would put on these shows at the local town theater. And this one kid was like taunting her that, oh, I see your lips moving and like all of that. And so she got really angry. And then that little kid goes missing. Everyone thinks she had something to do with his disappearance. So his family members murder her and rip her tongue out. So then her spirit is like trying to get rid of like his whole line of like that family line. And so it's kind of one of those things called Dead Silence, because it's like, because like the rooms, when she's coming to get you, the room will go quiet, and if you scream, she cuts your tongue out. That's how you die. So, but she has like these ventriloquist dolls, and I am ridiculously afraid of dolls. Like I cannot stand dolls. Big dolls, little dolls, like you'll never catch me with a freaking doll anywhere, because I swear when the lights goes off, it's like Toy Story and those things like talk, and it's like, no. Creepy. Like
the same way like with people don't like clowns, but
yes,
when I was a kid, there was Chucky was really popular, and then at my grandmother's house they had like little dolls that I'm a teenager, so my uncle, my father, they're whatever age, but there was always these dolls of the two of them in the house. So we'd be watching Chucky, and one of the cousins or uncles or aunts would grab the uncle dolls and throw them in mid like scary scene. So to tell you that I agree that I don't need a doll staring at me. Remember when was it a Furby? Not a Furby. What was the one thing that was real popular? I don't even trust those daggone things. So yes, I could agree with you.
Yeah, no, the first scary movie that I watched that totally ruined me with dolls was Puppet Master. So back in the day, that I'm just like, no, I can't deal with that. My cousin had like a 5-foot doll, creeped me out, threw that thing in the closet when I would stay over. Like I can't even look at him.
Yeah.
I'm not about dolls.
So what do you assess one of those two that you mentioned as your favorite movies? Your favorite Halloween?
I make everyone I know watch Dead Silence. I actually went to go see it in the theater with a friend of mine, and I loved it. And I watch it periodically, but anytime anybody asks me about scary movies, I I always make them watch it because I just think it's fantastic. Because it's good and it has some like comedy relief in it also, but it's actually keeps you on the edge of your seat. And the ventriloquist dolls are super creepy and they like slowly turn their heads and their eyes and it's all creepy and
I feel like as you're talking, I mean, and obviously our audible listeners versus our visual, via YouTube, I feel like I see I have a skeleton behind me and you have the it doll? Jigsaw. I I don't want to squint, but I feel like something's moving. So this is why I'm a much more tame Halloween. When can I wear the slutty costume type of person? Kelly's like, nice. No, let's conjure things up. Well, let's talk about Conjuring. So, and not to say that I won't watch Dead Silence, but here's what you got to do. Here's what you got to do. You need to support our sponsor, which is ViridianRoad.com, because let me tell you, what kind of rickety podcast host says he can't or he doesn't want to, or he's too chicken shit to pay $3.99 on the Amazon to watch Dead Silence? But I used that as an excuse and said, I texted Kelly. I said, oh, Kelly, I'm going to have to watch it later. But then she did say, what about The Conjuring? And I was trying to find another excuse. And she goes, no, right there on Netflix. You go ahead. So I watched, but before I watched Conjuring, I watched Halloween too. I watched the 2018 version. And I got to say, I don't know how you feel about that one, but it did open me up to, it opened me up to like really enjoying it. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I need to watch the newest version and the 1978 version and stuff like that. So Halloween was good. I did like it. I think what I liked about it is the well, you said you like spirits more than the gore, and I think Halloween is more on the side of Mike Myers and the gore.
I mean, it is, but Jamie Lee Curtis is like the ultimate scream queen. Like, she's amazing. Yeah. And the thing about the Halloween series is there's 12 movies and the timelines jump around. So it's super confusing if you watch them in order. So I like that the 2018 version goes kind of back to the 78 version. And then this newest one continues from the 2018 version. So I like that those are kind of consistent, but some of the other ones are a little out there and it gets a little weird, but it just kind of depends on what you like to watch them for. It's
like Saved by the Bell, the new class, or Saved by the Bell, the college years. The difference. There's a difference. You know what I think is the most frightening, scariest thing I've ever seen, though, and why I may not watch the new Halloween is because the Kyle Richards from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is in the new version, and I don't know anything more scary, let alone more boring than a Kyle Richards. So we'll see, but I may watch it because it does look interesting to me. And like you say, Jamie Lee Curtis, such a badass. The term Scream Queens, what is that? Because did you know that she was in a TV show called Scream Queens? It was Ryan Murphy.
I do know.
Wait, did you watch that?
I didn't. I've been told I must. I honestly have not watched that show yet, but everyone I've heard over and over that I need to watch it. So eventually it is on my list of shows to watch. So I definitely have to go back and binge it.
It is my brand of Halloween. Like I had never, not that I hadn't ever watched it, but I was never a big fan of like Mean Girls. Like I was like, it's cool or whatever. So people kind of gave like, oh, it's like a Mean Girls. They're in a sorority versus high school. I just thought it was bitchy, sorority kind of whatever. So I watched it recently. It's not necessarily Halloween, but yeah, it is called Scream Queens. And the direct, I don't know what you would call it. Just the way Jamie Lee Curtis's character is just so fun. And it's almost like devilish, and I like it. So that was a series I watched, at least the first series. I don't know if I watched the second because John Stamos was on it, and not that he's not good, but he wasn't that good, to be honest. I think he's aging out finally. Yeah. Well, why?
Well, I think he was a very underutilized actor personally, like over the years, but
yeah. Who's hotter, Rob Lowe or John Stamos? Because I only asked that because they just did a podcast together and they're almost like the exact opposite of each other. I have an answer, but who do you choose? Here we're supposed to be sticking on Halloween, and Ronnie always finds a way.
Well, I mean, I think that's like it's a toss up for me. I mean, I think they're both pretty hot, and I think they've both aged very nicely.
Okay,
along with Patrick Dempsey too. I think he's thrown in there.
Oh, remember when he was Ronald Miller on Can't Buy Me Love?
I do.
Yeah. I will go with Rob Lowe.
I mean, Rob Lowe has always been hot. I like one of my favorite Rob Lowe movies is an older movie with him and Demi Moore. It's called About Last Night. I do like St. Elmo's Fire, but About Last Night is one of my favorite movies with them.
Well, damn it. I don't ever want to do anything again. I only want to watch Kellie recommended movies because she recommended The Conjuring and was so fucking good. And to the Rob Lowe, what do you call it?
About Last Night is fabulous. You have to watch it.
I will watch.
Anyone who hasn't seen it, please watch it because it's such a great movie.
I will watch. Yeah. I will say that down the road, not anytime soon, because this rickety podcast barely gets done as it is. But down the road, Kellie and I will probably, add like a Patreon or just really like expand, because that was one of the things. One day I called Kellie and I was like thinking I was almost going to be bugging, which I do a lot. But it was funny because you had so many great ideas. So just as a note for anyone who's like, oh, I like this podcast, but they're kind of sticking within difficult people world only. I will just tell you, not to give what we had talked about. Some of our ideas, of course, were the obvious things that you would grow. But Kellie's got some ridiculously smart things that we probably will be getting into as this thing goes. So as I was saying earlier, support ViridianRoad.com. That way, can't do anything without the funds, and patreon.com/randomlyRJ Jr. as well, because my Patreon is already booming with
love.
Very little support.
Yes, and my Viridian Rose shirt, you can barely see it, but I've got like the red balloon from it because I love it, and they do such cute stuff that it's very subtle and very cool. And I'm such a movie buff, and one of their main things, as you know, from like the quote shirt that we have for difficult people, is a bunch of different movie quotes. So it's super fun stuff. Great gift ideas, guys.
Viridian Row has a lot of really fun stuff, but they're festive, like Halloween, Christmas. That's some of my favorite stuff as well. So yeah, support them. Why not? So The Conjuring was good. I had no idea what I was going to get into. Mm-hmm. I think it ended so strong. I was just like so enamored by the actress who had to make the huge final decision if she was going to be sort of taken or, be there for her daughter. And like that whole, I was at the edge of my seat, and I think for the whole next day, everything around me, when the wind would breeze through, I was like, is that the dark spirit? So it was great. I mean, you had Ron Livingston was in it.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. And then they really get you because it's a true, I sometimes wonder about these based on a true stories, but it was based on a true story.
Well, it's based on different encounters that Lorraine and Ed Warren have had. So it's what's really cool about them, and if you're interested in the paranormal, like I am,
no, not at all.
There's a great documentary about them on Discovery Plus. But
I'm interested in the documentary on Big and Little Edie. That's it. Give me Great Gardens.
Lorraine is a clairvoyant, which is basically like a medium, and Ed is a demonologist. So he's like studied the Bible and like all of these things and like the scientific part of it all. So they kind of balance each other out, which I always thought was really cool in the entire Conjuring series, because he's trying to find, they try to always debunk everything. And that's kind of what they did in real life also. So the stories are so interesting because it is based off of things that they say that they experienced throughout their life. And she was one that can actually like see things in her mind about like what's happening. You see that in the movie with everything she experiences and how she feels the evil, and like kind of it like replays in her head everything that happened before and how it's coming out now. And the story is just like super creepy because it's back in the Salem witch days about, it's the ghost is like this Bethesda Sherman who was an accused witch who sacrificed her child to the devil in like the 1800s.
Oh my goodness.
It's like a whole thing.
You be careful. Your play doll that's behind you is
I know.
Their eyes are moving
in a minute.
And I'm not okay. It was intense. And when you had told me, because I think I reported right after, like, I had watched it, you were like, oh, there's the documentary. And I was just like, oh my God, gives so much more, it is real.
I mean, it gives more insight into those things. And once you can kind of get past the creepiness of these different things and you get into the science of what they were doing, it's so interesting. And I think that's why I like it so much, because there are so many accounts of people that have experiences, and it's very taboo, and people get scared to actually say if they've experienced things or not, because, people, may not always believe them, and this and that. So I've always found it really interesting to kind of get into the meat of it, and especially people that are non-believers, and when they have experience and when they retell the story, it's so interesting just to hear their accounts of it, which is why I love watching that stuff.
Oh gosh, why can't it just be Casper the Friendly Ghost? Why does it have to be anything more? But I'm going along with you on this. Anything else you want to talk about with The Conjuring? Because it was very, very good. I was going to tell you a couple other things that were in the Halloween vibe, but maybe not Halloween-ish.
Yeah.
Was there anything?
Conjuring, I mean, I love it. Annabelle, Annabelle's based on a true story, but the real doll was like a Raggedy Ann doll. I used to have a Raggedy Ann doll, so that's like super creepy. The whole series is great, and all the different different sequels and stuff. I think there's like 7 movies now in the whole series. But it's really interesting.
The most intense part I also thought was when they were going back to their house, and then the daughter was there with the grandma. That to me was I guess because the whole time you're watching the movie and you're only thinking about the one family and what was going on in that home. And so when it kind of came a little closer, but it didn't really just come closer, because the guy said at the beginning something along the lines of like, we keep this stuff down here, it's better to entertain. I don't know what he said, but something like it's better to entertain.
Well, because they have that museum so they have the Annabelle doll locked up in their house. So and now it's a museum where you can go, and I can't remember the town they live in, but you can actually go and see all of this stuff. But they locked up all of the haunted objects to keep them contained so they don't get out and continue their havoc on other people or whatever. But so that's what's so creepy, is because they're out there fighting, the spirits at this house, but then in their house, there's so much evil that's contained in this one room. So it's like, if you have a powerful enough spirit, and that's what that shows. It's like it gets in the doll, and then it's like at the kid. And
this is what you choose. This is what you enjoy. I'm gonna say it, and it will sound like it's a money.
It's so fun.
I know, and I'm telling you, I could tell you were into it. And I was so proud of myself. Not like whatever, but I was like, okay, if this is what we're gonna do, let's watch it.
Yeah, that's a creepy one to watch for your first big scary movie.
Yeah, I watched it in the night, and I think like throughout the next day, like things like I was cooking, like I think I was making some scrambled eggs, and all of a sudden the spatula just like slid. In theory, it could have been gravity, but I don't remember that happening before. I'm just like,
now everything's a spirit coming to get you.
Yeah. I'm like, don't you mention the word Conjuring 3 times? No Candyman talk, none of that. I did get into movies that just kind of have that feel. Rocky Horror Picture Show, delightfully.
Fantastic.
Yeah, all the stickiness and the tackiness and the I want to watch it again. I want to watch it louder, where the music's really pumping. And then I'll always do the classics for me, which would be, we talked about you saying like Hocus Pocus, such a classic, but it's like a cutesy movie. What is your take on something like that?
Oh no, those are fun too. Like I love watching that. Like I will watch it, and also the Casper movie, which I think is super cute. And I am a huge movie fan in general, so I can appreciate all levels of Halloween movies, from the cutesy ones. I mean, Charlie Brown, love it, watch it every year. So I'm a fan of it all.
Okay, give me 3 more recommendations outside of Dead Silence, because as Halloween season, because Halloween's really a season. It's not just a day. It's a whole vibe. And then we get into
definitely the Changeling,
old from back in the day
version, from it's either the 60s or 70s. I can't remember.
Synopsis is what?
It is about a haunted house, and it's I can't even, because I'll give away too much, but it's really good. It's an older movie. A Haunting in Connecticut is actually a good one.
Okay.
So that one is a really good one. Let me think.
I feel like I hear spirits coming out of your room. So I gotta.
There's voices back here.
Blink twice if you're okay, please. See what you summoned.
I know. I'm always summoning something. My family gets mad at me. They're like, "Keep your spirits away."
Yeah.
But that's another good one. Oh, let me think. I mean, you can't go wrong with like the Beetlejuices. And a good series that I love that's ghostly is The Ghost Whisperer. And I really wish that they would find a way to revive that show. It's Jennifer Love Hewitt. It's one of my favorite shows. It ended years ago. There's like 5 seasons of it, but it is a great show. Check that one out.
And that's in the paranormal.
Yeah, she is the ghost whisperer. So she talks to spirits and sees them and helps them cross over, and it's a whole thing.
So the Halloween movies you don't love as much as like the bloody ones, but you're very intrigued with Ghost Whisperer.
Yeah, like I'm not a huge like zombie fan. Like I don't really get into like Walking Dead and like that sort of stuff.
I watched not to cut you off, sorry. I watched in my several movies I watched for our special. I watched Queen of the Damned. So that was a little bit in the like and can I tell you, as somebody who never watched any of those kinds of things, it was hot.
Well, you know, one of my favorite like quirky ones is Monster Squad. Monster Squad is like great. It's like an 80s movie, but it's like it's super cheesy and super awesome. So definitely add that one to your list. I think it's on Netflix right now.
Yeah.
Or Hulu.
And again, some of these aren't Halloween movies, but I was like, you know, they were enjoying the blood.
I mean, Silver Bullet is another good one.
Yeah.
Oldie but goodie. Like, I mean,
I will look into that. You know, as we say, we want difficult podcasters to continue to grow. It's starting as a difficult people recap, you know, delightfully brazen recap series, but it will grow in so many different ways. And that's really based on how you want to do it, Kelly, how I want to do it, and even like, you know, people that are supporting the show. So always support Viridian Row, always support patreon.com/randomlyRJ Jr. But but I was gonna also say, yeah, it would be cool, dude. I called you dude. I never call girls dude. It would be cool, dude, if we get to that point where we could do like, you know, watch via Twitch and then do live reaction kind of things for stuff that I've not seen. So as I said, when I was on the phone with Kelly a bit ago, I thought it was going to be a quick call, but there were so many great ideas that this, you know, intelligent woman here co-hosting with me had. So I was like, yes, okay, let's go. Pumped. And then I had a breakdown unrelated, so we didn't record.
I mean, I'm telling you, that's why we are difficult podcasters, because life is just difficult.
It was like right after we got off a good call, it was all the great like ideas in the future, and then I like hit a rough patch, you know, and I was like, I don't even want to talk to nobody. But we're here now. So let's end the show with give me some of your Halloween costumes, past, present, and future. And if they were crafty or if you bought them from the store or whatever. And I'll try to remember some of mine too.
Okay, so one of my favorite old-time costumes that my mom made me was a She-Ra costume that I actually won an award for a costume contest. But I will definitely make sure you guys see a picture of that, because that costume was bomb. And,
that had like the cufflinks and everything. Not cufflinks, but
I mean the whole deal. I had the crown, all of it. Did my little superhero stance, like I did it all. It was great. But yeah, she did a fantastic job on that costume. I also was Jem from Jem and the Holograms. I had my little pink star earrings and everything.
You were hitting in the 80s. Like you were.
Well, I did Jem in the 80s when I was younger, and then I redid it, a newer updated version a couple of years ago for a work party, but it was still super fun. So I loved those costumes. I also, one of my favorite ones, it was super easy because I basically just wore pajamas, but I was like a psych ward, like escapee. So I was just like bloody, and I was working at the Playboy Mansion at the time, and so for the Halloween party, I just had on my shirt. If found wandering, please return to the Playboy Mansion. So I would just always make my own stuff.
That is cute.
So that was fun.
Yeah. Oh, some serious costumes at that party, I assume.
Oh yes, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, that was at the part on another year. That's when you know, my whole Neil Patrick Harris story, when he told me that he loved my breasts because I was a slutty schoolgirl for that one.
You see, this is why we love Halloween.
But I was a dead schoolgirl, so I made it right. A little different.
Yeah.
I had like a slit throat.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you referenced it was at the Halloween thing.
It was.
You know,
it was at the Halloween party.
Growing up, costumes. I remember one year I was a police officer.
Nice.
And I loved the authority of it, I guess. Like I had the baton and I was like,
You were like clubbing
gonna
people.
get you. Yeah. Yeah. I liked the handcuffs as a little 10-year-old.
Oh,
So
I bet you did.
you know, so I was that 1 year. 1 year my brother was a pumpkin, which I don't think he enjoyed, but it was more in the vein it was enjoyment from my mother because she got to like, you know, construct it. So she's using the sewing machine and making like this big old pumpkin. And my brother, who was about 6 at the time, he's wobbling the big giant pumpkin, can't sit down or nothing, but it did look adorable. 1 year I had like a bad spirit where I didn't want to, a bad attitude where I didn't want to do it. And then last minute I was like, it was like, you know, that age where you're like, I'm not going to trick or treat. But then you're like, oh man, I'm going to miss out. So then I like put on a baseball cap and pretended like I was a baseball coach. Like,
nice.
Like way to phone it in, right?
Right. Lame.
Lame. And then 1 year I was a janitor. Again, I mean, it's like you wear the same shirt but hold a broom. Like it's a costumeless costume. So I really
thought my least effort, the easiest one I did was my pajama pants and my bloody t-shirt.
No, but I've always been into it, and it's like I'm just like, oh man, I do bask in the year that, like, especially in these days where I'm like, oh, the body's a little bit more put together, and you could, you know, kind of, you know, amp it up in the old being naughty way. I would like to do that, you know. I'd come with the heat, but you know, not with all this blubber, you know, not with all this jelly. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't really have any great ones. I do think I was like I was like a Dracula 1 year. Mostly I was always like that. Those like goblins of sorts. Like one time coveralls and big hair and like, yeah. And then yeah, so it was usually that. So my costumes didn't really have a name. They were just always like some kind of smudgy kind of makeup and then just mess, coveralls ripped, you know, blood everywhere, kind of a deal. One year I was a Wayne and Garth. I was that. I don't remember which one, but it was the same year my brother happened to be one of them. So we were at the end of the day we were able to meet. So it was an unplanned plan.
Another great costume I did with
did you guys hear the way she cut in? She said, this list is boring. Let me save this. She did.
You had like a 2-person costume. So I did sorry. That was totally rude.
That's what I felt. I felt like I was hanging on by a thread. Thank God you did it.
No, but yeah, we did the Pulp Fiction, the John Travolta and Uma Thurman, and that was like a really cool costume.
Oh, that is good. Yeah, would you do costume? Well, so like speaking of together, would you do like couples costumes and stuff like that? Are you into that? Well,
that's the one that we did. Like I did with my boyfriend at the time. Okay. So yeah, we did that together. So that was fun.
I think that is very hot. I like it. I think you should do it. You know, and it makes it fun. Whatever it is, Sonny and Cher, like just.
I'm totally down for couples costumes. Like it's fun. And I like to get creative with costumes if I have time. So it's always fun.
I figure it's so funny because I'm not drawing on a lot of great experiences of having all these like, oh, I dressed as this, but probably once we're done, I probably will remember. But I will say that I do always, this is the reason I do a pumpkin every year and a jack-o'-lantern because I feel like throughout the year we're so much pressure on every bit of life. We're such grown-ups, adulting at all times, that if you could be silly and slutty for one time, do it. Yeah. And so I think that's why you should get into it. So yeah, I've always been like, you know what I've always wanted to do. Again, this will never happen with all this jelly, but they always have these like Halloween, like the people that started drag in Halloween, or some that just did it for fun. If I ever did drag, I would want to do a character by the name of Brenda K. Starr from the I Still Believe music video, but as gorgeous as she was in that music video, you know, I still believe. As gorgeous as she is in that video, the big hair, the leather, the 80s of it all, I would eat that up. But not with that round, chunky belly. Just, I still believe.
Just get some Spanx.
Yeah. So anyways, long-term goal, when Equinox could sponsor this pod, you're going to see me 1 year as Brenda K. Starr. I call it out right now, and I will still be believing. last but not least, I just wanted to say another thing about Halloween that I like is the way sitcoms back in the day really made, they had a splash. Roseanne Halloween episodes were always so good. Not to say like Full House wasn't, but the Roseanne Halloween episodes back in the day were so good, and it's fun to watch.
Most shows had a Halloween episode, so that was always fun.
Yeah. Well, now there's only The Bachelor 18 times a day, so there is no like themed episodes as much. But yes, I'll always take a Halloween episode. They're always fun to watch, and I think that wraps it up. And I know that your ghost or whatever that is behind you is definitely looking at you, and I don't like it. You see my skeleton in the corner.
I think it moved.
I was gonna say it wasn't even sitting there to begin with. So shit's about to go down.
For real.
So look forward to in the future us getting back to difficult people recaps. We're about halfway point, which is such an accomplishment. And then maybe we'll do another stop down of festive Christmas. I'm not sure, but you never know with us.
You never know. We'll see.
All
we'll
right.
see where the wind blows us.
Okay. Don't say Candyman more than once, okay? I'll talk to you later, I guess.
Yes, enjoy the holiday. Bye. Poof.